Amazing. So, Louise, thank you so much for chatting to me today. I am so looking forward to talking to you about your experience as a parentless parent and also your incredible community as well, Get Up and Grief. So yeah, if you want to just start by telling me a little bit about how that all came about.
Yeah, definitely. So Get Up and Grief was born when I was actually on maternity leave well, I went on maternity leave in 2023 when I had my little boy. And yeah, I think my grief kind of was triggered by that from having a baby. And I just felt like I needed a bit of a safe space to really explore those feelings. And also to kind of reach out to other mums that are grieving, but also are parenting without a parent. So yeah, I set up Get Up and Grief in 2024, early in my maternity leave, and it just became mainly a safe space for myself. But then I wasn't expecting it to really grow overnight and become this like girl power community. And yeah, now it's an amazing community for young women to connect through all different types of grief journeys. So it doesn't just focus on parent loss, but that is obviously my lived experience. So if you connect with that, then again, it can be a real safe space for parent loss as well. And yeah, it's just a really honest, upfront version of talking about grief, which sometimes I don't think we're given in this modern world now. We're not really given that view still on what grief really looks like and feels like. And it's mainly just to target the honest truth that when we lose a parent or a loved one in our 20s, um, we're still navigating life. We're still trying to work out who we even are. And those foundations come from a parent. So when we lose a parent, that can really rock those foundations. And, we're trying to get jobs, find our careers, fall in love, travel the world, think about motherhood. And yeah, when you've experienced loss, that can be a really tough time for you to to even process or take that time. So yeah, it's really just a safe space for young women that are trying to get up every day, deal with their grief, but also are still wanting to fall in love with life, still want to have a social life with their friends, and just show up every day, not just for everyone else, but for them and for their grief.
I love that. And the name, like you said, that is literally it. It encompasses it, doesn't it? It's like, we do need to get on. Hate that saying, but life does move on. And, yeah, like you said, all those milestones, but it is kind of learning to just get up and get on with it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I find it so interesting that obviously you started this when you became pregnant. So obviously that's a huge milestone, a massive milestone without your dad. What was your kind of immediate reaction when you found out you were pregnant? Like what kind of were you going through emotionally?
Yeah, I think it was that moment that again you realize oh, like you're really not going to be here for this. And you think of like doing the reveals when you're like announcing it to like your partner and then, friends and family. And obviously one of the main ones was like revealing it to my mum. And you see the reveal videos all the time, don't you, online and social media. And yeah, it was just that I wanted to make it a really lovely moment for my mum. But yeah, I did kind of realize that when I got, a little baby grow that just said nanny, the reality that it wasn't going to say nanny and granddad. So yeah, it definitely brought up a lot of feelings that I knew were there, but I didn't realize how much they would come to the surface because I think you're never done grieving. Like grief is, you just learn to understand it. It's like the friend you never wanted, but it's on your alongside you everywhere you go, everything you do. And it's kind of learning to trust that friend a little bit and lean into it sometimes. And I think with my pregnancy, I think I thought that I was done with my grief, weirdly. I think I thought like, by then I think Dad had passed away, so it'd been about 3 years nearly. But yeah, I wasn't done. So it really brought up a lot of feelings that I wasn't expecting. And it definitely made me learn that I had a lot of grieving to still do and to process,
Mm.
which can be scary. But I also realized that, it's important to make sure I actually explore all of those feelings within my grief so that, I'm able to process, and to make sure that I could be the best mum that I wanted to be alongside, my grief.
Mm. I think, like you said before, you're almost like grieving. You're taking on a new identity, aren't you? Like now you're not just a daughter, you're like
Yeah.
pregnant daughter, and you're about to become a mum, and your dad's not there to see that. So it's
Yeah.
grief and all those kind of new chapters, isn't it? Um,
Yeah.
with regards to like actually starting a family, was that something that you've always wanted to do? And like losing your dad, did that change it at all?
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to be a mum one day. And, you know, I was really lucky to witness my dad be like an amazing granddad, for, a good 4 years of them being around, where my sisters have both have children. And that was really, really special and really lovely. And just watching like both my parents be grandparents together was incredible. And I just always knew like I wanted to give that as well. So I think that was the main thing that really was set in my mind, that one day I want to have kids because I want to have that. I want to have those experiences with my parents as grandparents as well. So yeah, that was definitely probably one of the things that I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I just always would imagine that we would have lovely days out together with Nanny and Grandad. And yeah, so they were definitely moments that made me want to become a parent.
And then losing your dad, did that change that? Because I guess that image that you do have of you all kind of going on these days out, it's well, like all these images that we have of, our weddings as well. It's just cut short,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely makes you just think, oh wow, I'm really going to go through life and you're not going to be present for these pretty big milestones. And yeah, when Dad died, I just bought my first property and we had the keys, we were about to go view it, and yeah, it was really sudden within those first few days. So that was the first kind of milestone in my adult life, that you know, almost felt like it had been taken away from me. And so before even getting to motherhood, I was just looking forward to having both my parents visit my new flat and cook them dinner. And
Such a small ask as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and just to, repay back the favor, like my dad would always say, like, oh, the amount of dinners that you owe us,
yeah.
and so it was like, I know, like I will, I promise, I'll cook you dinner. That was just a really small thing that I genuinely like couldn't wait to do, and I think when that was the first milestone that I didn't even reach, it did create a bit of a fear of how else am I going to get through these other milestones. But for me, I think parenting was just one that I knew I could see how much my nephews were, healing my sisters
Yeah.
through their grief, as tough as I know it was for them and still is navigating children that, have already met that grandparent and then they've left their lives. So, but
Yeah.
I could see that, the magic was still there, and I think I envied that, and almost wanted to have those feelings. So yeah, I think I just kind of knew that even though these milestones are going to be really tough, I just knew parenting was almost going to be one that would heal me,
Yeah.
and still is. But yeah, I just felt like it was something that Dad would have absolutely have wanted me to have done, and would know that I would be an amazing parent. And yeah, I think even though, he's not here now to see it, I just know that he was the biggest cheerleader for me and still is. So yeah, I think that just really made me be like, yeah, I still want to go and like live my life to the full, and be a parent, and just, yeah, a bit like grief, we'll just deal with it when we get there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. And like, yeah, maybe with my fears, I am kind of thinking about it too much. Like, maybe just kind of see what happens with it. But I think, like you said, your realization was it was worth, you knew it was going to be difficult
Yeah.
navigating pregnancy and motherhood without your dad, but it was like it was worth that pain that you were gonna go through.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And there's moments all the time, and it's like people think, oh, if you mention, if you mention her mum, or if you mention her dad, when you've lost a parent, you're reminding them, and it's like, no, I'm reminded every day.
yeah, as soon
You
as you
know,
wake up.
yeah, like there's reminders everywhere. That's why we have photos all around our house, and little trinkets everywhere. And the reality is that our grief is everywhere. It's it crosses our mind constantly, daily. And even as a parent, there's lots of moments where there's grandparents at the park,
Mm.
meeting up, and taking their grandchildren out for the day. So, you're really around it, a lot. And sometimes you're just kind of navigating those feelings. And I look on and think, oh, that's so lovely. That's so nice. They get to spend the day together. And it gives you that perspective that not everyone has. And
Mm.
it's probably the one thing that does come from grief that teaches you, just being really grateful for what you do have, and the time that you do get to spend with people that you love. Because yeah, you're then that person in the park watching on and thinking, oh, that's so lovely. They get to meet up with their parents this weekend and all have coffee, and go off and yeah, have a lunch together. Because yeah, when you don't get that opportunity, you suddenly realize how special it is now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In those, I mean, to be honest, those moments that you kind of talk about are some of the moments that I'm most afraid of. Like for
Mm.
me, going to the park with my child and seeing, a mum with her granddaughter playing on the swings, like I'm worried that I would just start crying in the park, like
Yeah.
with my child. Like, do you ever have those moments? Or like, just how do you navigate those situations? Like, because obviously you don't want your child to like never see you cry. Like, I think it's healthy to obviously show emotion, but
Yeah.
I mean, I also don't want to be an emotional wreck all the time with my child. So how do you navigate those kind of triggers?
Yeah, so I they're always there. They do happen. They happen a lot more than you expect. And yeah, only literally the other day I was at the park, and there was a granddad pushing his grandson, and the little boy saying granddad, granddad over and over. And I think I just look on and just really smile, probably smile a bit too much, that they might think I'm a bit odd. Um,
Oh, there's the crazy lady at the park again.
yeah, smiling at everyone. But yeah, I think you just have a moment where, again, I just think, oh, that's so lovely. That's so lovely that they get to have that special time together. And then yeah, there's definitely moments that really catch me off guard. And I might feel a little bit emotional and quickly whip on my sunglasses, and just have a little moment. And they definitely happen a lot more than often. And I think my little boy's only 2 at the moment, but as time goes on, some of those moments he might start to recognize that I look a bit sad, or I'm feeling those emotions. And I always want to be really honest with him, and, just letting him know that, mummy's feeling a bit sad. She's just missing her daddy and, missing granddad. And I think that that's kind of where it starts,
Mhm.
um, educating young about grief and what it looks like and feels like, because a lot of the time, it's been and still is, sadly, a subject that we've always been told to, don't show emotion to it. And if you want to have a moment, have it privately, because you don't want to upset other people or make other people uncomfortable with your grief. And I think, especially with Get Up and Grief, that's kind of what I've been wanting to push out there, is that, you know, it's not about making people feel uncomfortable. It's just about, this is my real life. This is
Mhm.
my everyday.
Yeah.
My everyday is being a mum and going to the park and going to, maybe a Christmas play where there's going to be lots of grandparents around. And the reality is that that's going to be quite triggering, and I'm going to feel lots of emotions come up because I'm not getting the experience that others are having. And, I think it's just about being honest and sharing those thoughts and feelings so that other people can learn to be a lot more understanding of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Um, so you've obviously got a little boy. Did you know that you were having a boy? Like, did you find out beforehand and just, yeah, I'd love to know. If I've spoken to a few people that have said the gender of their child kind of does have a bit of a difference. Like if they lost their mum and they had a daughter, it's kind of like restoring that bond a little bit. Obviously, you were extremely close to your dad. So
Mm.
having a boy, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I know people say this, but I knew I was going to be a boy mum. And as much as, of course, I'd love to have the girl. But yeah, I just knew I was going to be a boy mum. And having my little boy, he was then the fourth grandson. So obviously we were like, oh, it's another boy. But yeah, it was really special. And, we're a big Fulham fans. My dad was a big Fulham fan. So I lived in a Fulham kit like
Oh,
my whole childhood. And my mum has these photos everywhere of me, like in a Fulham kit.
I
And
love
just,
that.
and yeah, I used to say it would take, to try and get me out of that. She would always think like, will she always be in Fulham kit? It's like, is she ever going to wear anything else? A football kit? But you also learn as well that girls can love football too. And so I had that real, special bond with my dad, and my dad with all of us as sisters. He didn't get to have boys, and he actually loved being a girl dad. And, he would take us all to Fulham, down to Craven Cottage. So having a boy, we always used to say, like, couldn't wait to put him in a Fulham kit. And that was going to be something really special for me. So, yeah, getting that first Fulham kit and putting him in it, it was a real moment where, yeah, I definitely got upset. And I really it was one of those real moments that I really wish he was there to see.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, my other nephews have gone on to support other teams. Um, and I know that my dad always knew that I would be the loyal one to
Yeah,
Fulham
yeah,
and
yeah.
would be like, I'm not going to put them in anything else. So yeah, I think having a boy, I just knew that that was something that, I couldn't wait to do. And even if he goes on and doesn't like football, I've got the photo, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, that was really special. And I, when my little boy was born, I went and had a newborn photo shoot, and I dedicated like a photo of him in like a Fulham polo shirt that was similar to one that my dad wore. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's gorgeous.
yeah, and I dedicated that, and we have that in a photo, and I gave one to my mum. So yeah, that was kind of my little way of having this moment for dad, even though he couldn't be here. So yeah, I just made sure that I wanted to do something,
Yeah.
and really kind of fill that hole a little bit at the beginning. So yeah, I definitely loved that idea of, like, yeah, having that photo shoot done. And yeah, it's just a beautiful moment as well.
I love that. That's so lovely. Are there any, I mean, I know he's only two, but are there any kind of characteristics that he's showing that kind of remind you of your dad yet?
I mean, yeah, he's really cheeky, but I'm not sure if that's just the toddler
Yeah.
um, in him. But yeah, at the moment, he's just yeah, he's such a friendly little boy. He's so happy, really lovely. Definitely testing me at the moment. Um, but yeah, he's just really cheeky and really, a really lovely little soul to be around. And it's funny because we always say one of my sister's boys really looks like my dad.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes, again, because I think when you're having a baby, you get so fixed on mum and dad, who they're going to look like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
out of the actual parents. And yeah, when they kind of skip over a few features
Mhm.
and they go straight to a grandparent. Yeah, so one of my nephews, yeah, he really has, and he has a lot of characteristics like my dad as well. Which yeah, sometimes yeah, you have those moments, and it's lovely because obviously
Mm.
it again, it's just bringing that person, they're still
Yeah,
here.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? Like
Yeah, yeah.
to be able to look at a child and then see your dad or your mum, like it's just, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's really lovely. And of course, it's hard because they're not here physically, but
Mm.
that's what it's about, isn't it? Their
Yeah,
legacy and them being, you're able to kind of see characteristics of them through the grandchildren, which is obviously really lovely.
yeah, yeah. No, it's gorgeous. And when would you say you're reminded most in the day to day about being a parentless parent?
Um, I'd probably say like once I am done with like the morning rush,
Hmm.
um, and then I can like think again. And once kind of like the school run and that's all done, um, I call my mum every morning, like every day, and um, it's just like we always obviously spoke a lot anyway. But yeah, when Dad died, it was, we checked in a lot more. And yeah, like when I go on my favorites, like even this morning driving back, Dad is right underneath Mum, like he's still there. Um, I've never removed it. So again, it's a constant reminder of, oh, can't call you, would
Yeah,
like to call you.
yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to pick up. And yeah, I think sometimes just um doing those quick little phone calls where, yeah, you wish that you could, I like, wish that I could, because I would call Dad a lot. I mean, I was still living at home up until when he passed away. So, but yeah, I would call Dad a lot, for quick little things. And so, yeah, it's moments like that when you're just wanting to have a quick phone call and
Be like, what are
you're
you up to today? And yeah.
yeah, yeah, and oh, this is what I've got on, and
Mm.
oh, yeah, this morning went well, dropped him
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
just to give a quick little update, and yeah, it's in moments all the time that people don't realize, when you're watching TV,
Mm. Something
you know,
reminds you of them or something that they would like.
yeah, all the time, adverts come on, you see things all the time and you sit there and your partner's on the sofa and they probably have no idea what's going through your head. But really, you're constantly thinking of a lot of these things that come up
Mm.
and yeah, a lot of the time I'm like, oh my God, like my dad loved that and oh we
Oh,
always
what
used.
about, do you remember you told me about the snowman as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously, it's getting to Christmas time. I mean, we're not in December yet, but Christmas is getting earlier and earlier. And yeah, I mean, the snowman, my dad really loved that, and he would play the song to it. And obviously, you look back and you laugh now because back then we'd be like, really playing this really loud, like is Is there a need for this?
Are we talking like Walking in the Air song?
Yeah,
That,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
walking
okay.
in the air, yeah. So yeah, I remember
Quite
him.
like haunting in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, he was always really like he loved that. He always
Oh,
loved that scene, loved the music to it, and yeah, I remember him really playing that and really loudly. So yeah, it came up the other day on TV, and yeah, my little boy would never have seen it, so we put it on, and yeah, it was a really lovely moment. But then yeah, it's a really emotional piece as
mm,
well.
yeah,
Something, yeah, before I would never have gotten really upset to.
yeah,
And yeah, as soon as the music started playing, I was just like really, really just felt really emotional. And I think it also was just the reality of like, oh God, we're doing another Christmas again
yeah,
without you. And you realize as a parent, you're here to create the Christmas magic now. Like
yeah,
I feel like that's my job now, that's my duty. I've got to do it and I want to do it right because I had the most amazing Christmases with my parents. So I want to, put all of that magic into my little boy's Christmas as well. But yeah, when you're grieving, Christmas is such a difficult time and
yeah.
it's just so hard to navigate as much as you want to be present. So yeah, I think just finding little moments, what works for you, and just yeah, taking your time with it really. And if you can't show up to everything, like that's okay.
Yeah.
Especially in the parenting world because Christmas is really in your
I can
face.
imagine.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that Grinch that's like, no, not for me.
Mm.
Um, and it's hard to explain, obviously, to everyone why maybe you don't listen to is it Heart Christmas?
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, why maybe you're not listening to that or why you don't have the Christmas
Is
songs
that
playing.
a whole radio channel for Christmas songs?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I
sure
only
it is.
discovered that the other day actually. And yes,
Yeah,
yeah, I was the Grinch and I was like, no.
no, no, absolutely not. Yeah, and I remember like being in an office, and it was the first leading up to the first Christmas that Dad wouldn't be here, and yeah, I remember just the office was playing Christmas songs on repeat, and I just put my headphones in, and
Mm,
that's when I realised, my identity had completely
yeah.
changed from losing a parent. But and then as you mentioned earlier, then becoming a parent, your
Yeah.
identity shifts again, and you're embracing another identity very far from the one you knew before.
Mm,
Um, and I think that's where obviously you're really leaning into it a lot more because your grief is, as always, alongside it. And
mm,
you're wanting to really embrace this new identity this time because
mm,
it's parenthood, it's what you wanted, and
mm,
you've got this little person that is, you've just got so much love to give. And I think with my grief, I just try and pour all of that love and those feelings into being a parent,
mm,
just to, yeah, just to give you that, the perspective of it. You
mm,
have all the time of, you know what tough times can really look like. And I think when you've been through trauma and you've been dealt with a pretty bad card in life, you just always see things from a different perspective. And
mm.
parenting, I think, really can give you that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know we've spoken a lot about the hard aspects of parenting without a parent, but obviously, like you said, it gives you that perspective. And I do wonder with Christmas, especially, like I do find it really tough. And some people go, "Oh, are you in the Christmas spirit yet?" And it's like, so like I sound like a Grinch, but like there is no Christmas spirit for me without my mum. She was Mrs. Claus, like genuinely. She came down the stairs dressed as Mrs. Claus one Christmas. Like, but I wonder, having children, does it bring that magic back to it?
Yeah.
Like it must do in a way.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I mean, I think that's probably one of the things as well why I knew I wanted to have a family, because it would kind of heal all of those feelings around, Christmas. And I mean, yeah, my dad had a Father Christmas suit that he was going to wear and everything. And my parents have always been really big on Christmas. And yeah, it was just always as it is, a really important time to be together, all sat around the table, and I think, yeah, it's always just really tough to navigate when, we always know that it's another Christmas without dad here and he's not going to be at the end of the table. But being a parent definitely has brought that magic back for me. And I mean, we had like our Christmas launch last Friday in our town. And yeah, it was probably the first time really that I kind of was more like, oh, this is really lovely. And, there was a band playing Christmas songs and, lots of lights. And my little boy was just constantly like, wow, to everything. And, we'll get hot chocolate and so yeah, before I probably would have avoided that
Yeah.
type of environment. But yeah, it definitely, it starts to bring that spark a little bit back in you. And I think even before I had kids, I, would see my siblings with their children, and I could see that, when you have kids as well with grief, you can't afford to stop. You have to keep getting up. You have to keep moving. You've got to get them up in the morning, get them dressed, get them to school, and you know, it's probably another way that allowed them to keep moving with their grief, as difficult as it was for them to navigate. And I kind of envied that. I
Mm.
wanted, that other purpose to keep going. And yeah, I think having a baby, having a child at Christmas, especially with your grief, it gives a new purpose to it as well. And you know that it's also not just about all of the presents, even though it is for the children, of course, but you do realize that it is really just about being together, being, around that Christmas table, even though it's really difficult. And yeah, I mean, we definitely don't, cheers and be like Merry Christmas. I think we laugh as we do it, but whenever we say like, oh, Merry Christmas, and in the mornings, or when we're finally together, we're saying it through like tears, like Merry Christmas. And
Yeah.
after we'll kind of laugh, and because your
And then just
reality.
get drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just have a drink and just, just literally block all of that out for a few hours. And so, yeah, you come at it with, it's a very different, you have a heavy heart with Christmas.
Mm.
But yeah, I think children just allow you to kind of find that magic again, which I definitely have found. And it's making me fall back in love a little bit with Christmas again. There's definitely some songs that I will be like, oh, let's turn this one over. This was my dad's favorite Christmas song. Or I'll be in a shop and Christmas songs are playing, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to go into another shop and hear Christmas songs playing again.
Yeah. Oh, I love that though. Like honestly, just I think that is a big thing for me. I think just bringing that magic back. I think it's lovely. Also, I know you mentioned about how you saw kind of with your sisters about how having children, it almost gave them that purpose, and they had to get up in the morning, and they had to get on with it. Like, how has having a child helped you with your grief? Like, has it given you that purpose and maybe that structure? And I think you also told me a really lovely story last time we spoke about how I think about just about being present and in the moment. That lovely story about
Yeah.
you with your son under the blanket.
Yeah, I think again it's that whole, we've got to get up, we've got to go, we don't have time for this. But yeah, grief gives you another perspective on sometimes just being in the moment. And as much as this doesn't always happen, because some mornings it's like, come on, and we need to quickly eat your breakfast, we need to go, we need to get dressed. Sometimes I do have that little moment where, I feel very grateful. I feel very blessed to have this moment. And yeah, he's in this real phase of hiding under the blanket. Especially in moments where I'm like, we need to go now. And yeah, just like took 5 minutes to just hide under the blanket with him and be like, what we doing? Are we having a little cuddle under the blanket? And just little moments like that where you just remember to just be in the moment, instead of always being so, chaotic with life and stressed. And it's, you do this and then you're on to the next thing, on to the next thing. It's just sometimes slowing down a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
And obviously, it's really hard to say that as a mum because
Yeah,
slowing
'cause
down.
it sounds so like against actually what the reality, I guess, is.
Absolutely. But yeah, it sometimes just highlights that there's also some things that it's like it's okay if we're not doing that, or we don't have to be doing all of this
Mm.
stuff and go here and go to all these places. We can just be together, and that's just as important. So yeah, just about being in the moment. And I think, yeah, that's definitely something that parenting is teaching me as much as it's testing me with the toddler phase. Yeah, it's just kind of slowing down sometimes. And I think it's it's healing my grief
Mm.
definitely as I go along, and it's teaching me lots of things about my grief as well,
Mm.
things I didn't realize or knew. And it makes me think as well about being a child, and all of the love that I had as well, and just wanting to kind of carry that on, I guess, as well.
I love that. With the slowing down, would you say before you had a child you were very much like go, go, go?
I'd say that there's a mixture of it. It's more in the sense of you are just showing up to everything. Sometimes things that you don't even need to be showing up for, or people.
People,
And
people pleasing?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, you don't want to let people down, Oh, I need to go to this because I haven't gone to it, or I didn't go last time, and oh, I haven't seen her in so long, and if I don't go, our friendship's probably going to end. And you're just showing up all
Mm.
of the time. You're trying to be at everything all at once and be present. And as much as, you know, I think so, yeah, it's slowing down in a different way because I think with grief, you just learn to slow down a lot more in the sense of showing up for everything or everyone, and just focusing your energy where it's, really needed, which a lot of the time is for yourself. Knowing that, some environments or some places aren't good for you,
Yeah.
you might have gone to before, but some environments now you might be like, actually, I always come away from that event feeling a certain way about myself, and I don't like that anymore. So yeah, I don't think there's a need for me to go.
Mm.
And I think knowing that and accepting that that's okay is like a huge amount of growth. And it's things I've learned about myself, and I'll see things that I've reacted to differently, to maybe how I would have years ago.
Mm.
And yeah, it's kind of just about feeling confident within yourself and where you're at, but knowing that, it's taken you a long time to get to maybe this safe space, and it's sacred and you really want to look after it and nurture it. And sometimes going to things that don't make us feel good sets
Mhm.
us back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just about protecting your peace a little bit, your grief piece especially. So
Yeah, and like your little bubble, I guess, your safety, isn't it now? Like
mm.
with your son and your partner. I love that. No, I love that idea. I think you mentioned about it made you think a lot about your childhood as well. So I'm wondering, are there any lessons that you've taken from your childhood and your dad's role as a father, maybe that you're taking into your own parenting? Like, what has he taught you that you want to kind of take forward?
Yeah, just, being really present. We laugh because my dad was just, he firstly was in a household with four women. So he had to deal with a lot. A lot of the time he couldn't get a word in. Um, but he was really present as a dad with three girls, and he was at everything. He did a lot of the school pickups and drop-offs. He was the chef. He did a lot of the meals. My sisters laugh, but he would literally go down the shop and pick up our Tampax. He knew like if the cycle, everyone was on their cycle that month, when to stay away. And we were really lucky and grateful because we did really have like a dad in a million. And he just, yeah, like he never shied away from anything either of raising three girls. And I just always loved that. We could always have any conversation, no matter what. Even if it was like going to be a debate, it would be a healthy debate, and it would be our opinions, and sometimes it would be us educating
Mm,
him, about certain things. And yeah, I think it just makes me want to just really be present, as a boy mum as well, just educating a boy into the modern world, being open, about your feelings, talking. We don't have to, shut away how we feel, especially with feelings about grief.
mm,
And that's why I think it's also important that, as he starts to learn, about granddad, and that I lost my dad, it's important for me to be open and honest about that journey and what that means and what it looks like. And I think that's also a real focus for Get Up and Grief, because I want to also be sharing really important work,
mm,
and that this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to make sure that young people navigating grief have a safe space to talk about it,
mm,
whether that's in an office speaking with their boss or colleagues or friends, that they feel that, oh, it's not awkward for me to mention this, is it?
mm,
Of course, it should be talking about grief. It's always going to come with sadness because it's always a tough subject, but it's allowing people to know that it's okay to speak about this. This
mm,
is a safe space. You're navigating this. So, yeah, I think just, I definitely want to. My dad always, told us to just really be open and honest and confident, and to speak up for ourselves. And yeah, I think I just want to take all of that, and yeah, just really grateful to have had all of that. And I think even though I know I had an amazing time with my dad and growing up, it's never enough.
mm,
And when you lose a parent, I lost my dad, I was about 28. Um, Even then, I didn't feel done yet. I hadn't even gone into my 30s. I I wasn't done. And, now we're only just figuring ourselves out halfway through our 30s. We're
mm,
still trying to work out what we want to do in careers, and you're never done working things out. And I think that's why it can be tough losing a parent, because you're always wanting them to navigate and support you through that journey, no matter what. And yeah, I want to be that parent for my son, to know that you can call me no matter what stage you're at in life. I'm always going to be there, be present, and show up, and want to listen.
mm. Well, your dad has obviously laid some amazing foundations because you're already doing that with your
Uh-huh.
page, aren't you? Your community. So yeah, I think it's incredible. Um, I think you mentioned this to me briefly before, but what kind of rituals have you got to remember your dad with? Like, how do you kind of speak to your son about your dad?
Yeah, so we have photos all around the house. So I always joke that it's basically a bit of a shrine, dedicated to my dad around the house. So um, yeah, obviously there's photos now that I point at and say granddad. And yeah, I mentioned this before because I always think, children fall in love with characters on TV that they've never met in real life. Bluey is a household name in our home, and a lovable character who my son is obsessed with and adores, just like all of the other characters. but he's never met him. He's never seen him in real life. He's just seeing him through the screen or photos, videos online through a teddy bear. So I just always think, why can't I do that with dad? And really bring him to life through stories, photos. So yeah, I definitely try to do that through photos. I've got so many videos and footage of dad, which is really amazing. And I've got footage of him with my nephews as well, which is
Oh,
always nice to look at too. So yeah, obviously he's still fairly young, but I know that these are going to be such lovely ways to show him like this is my dad, this is your granddad Michael, and yeah, these are ways to just really, just bring him almost to life really. And that's the tough thing, I think, parenting when you've lost a parent and they've not met your child, because you are trying to figure out, how do I introduce this amazing person that's my whole world
yeah.
that isn't physically here to meet them. And yeah, there's so many ways through stories. I've written a story that I really want to put into a book and be able
Wow.
to read and read to him. And yeah, just to, make him just aware as I am, really, so that he knows to mention about his granddad. And yeah, I think you just don't want them to be lost or forgotten, really, do you? So yeah, my mission is to just, make dad as much of a household name as Bluey is in our house. And then yeah, that will make me
I
that will
love
make me
that. I love that. Merchandise next. T-shirts, pencil
literally
cases,
everywhere.
all like Fulham colours though, obviously.
Yeah.
Love that. Um, and just finding, I mean, obviously, I'm here today to hear your experience because I'm not yet a mum. It's something I'm obviously thinking about, but terrified to do it without her. So, I'd just love to hear kind of your final words and advice to anyone in my position, I guess, who's just maybe worried about making that big decision.
Absolutely. And I think, being worried and showing up already in grief communities means that you're already doing the work without realizing. You're making space for your grief, and you're acknowledging that you'd love to do this milestone in life, but you also know it's going to look pretty different to a lot of your friends, and that can be something quite hard to deal with and to process. But it's just to also know that you probably have so much love to now give to motherhood. And yeah, it in some ways can really be quite healing through your grief. And that's definitely been my experience. And yeah, I think it's just to know that, all of the love that you had from that parent, you can absolutely pour into this child now that you have. And it's just going to give you a whole new perspective as well. Grief already does, and then becoming a parent does. And I know, like, when my dad died, how vulnerable I felt in the world and how lost I felt, because he wasn't there to protect me from things that would go wrong. And even now, sometimes, like, if my car breaks down, I'm like, oh my God, Dad, I need you here to help me. Like, there's no way I can go into that garage and deal with it on my own. Like, and you just realize how protected you are. So, yeah, I think taking that element of knowing that I'm going to be that safe space for my baby, I am going to be their protector, their security guard, their taxi driver, the chef, and just the most lovable person and character in their life. And just, yeah, wanting to create that protection of that bubble, really, that you felt and you had when they were here with you in the world. That's something that I think you can really give to motherhood, which is something really special.
I love that so much. No, it's such a nice way to describe it. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Louise. It's been so nice to chat.
Yeah, it's been
And
really
yeah,
lovely.
you never know, next time we chat, Who knows? It might be a
Yeah.
no, but no, thank you. And
Thanks so
yeah,
much,
chat
Zara.
soon. All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.